On this video, we'll be solving these two typical exam questions on quadratic equations. We did solve this one on the previous video using factorization, but we will solve it on this video using the quadratic formula. Then we can compare the answers. This question is taken from the November 2022 grade 12 exam. It was worth 4 marks. Let us try to solve it. There are two ways of solving this. There's one that I prefer and the other one which I know some students might prefer. Let's solve it. This is x minus 7 root x is equals to negative 12. The method I prefer, because I'm not used to seeing quadratic equations like this, I am used to seeing them as ax squared plus bx plus c is equals to 0. So now that there's a square root here, it gets confusing for some students. So we'll try to get rid of this square root. I use a method called the separate and eliminate method, where I'll separate this term that has this undesired square root so I can get rid of the square root. So what we'll do is we'll transpose this term to the right hand side of the equal sign and then transfer the 12 to this side. So now we have x plus 12 is equals to 7 root x. So we just transposed the negative 12 to the left hand side and the negative 7 root x to the right hand side. I want to get rid of the square root, so I will square both sides. Remember, what you do on the left, you must do on the right. So if I square both sides, now x plus 12 squared becomes x squared plus 12x plus 12x plus 12 times 12 squared is 144 equals to, so this expression now squared, it's the 7 squared, which is 49, and the square root of x squared, the square cancels the square root, we are left with just x. So what we do now is transpose this 49x to this side. When you add these two, you get 24. So we have x squared plus 24x. The 49, if it comes this side, it becomes negative 49x plus 144 is equals to 0. Now 24 minus 49 is negative 25. So now we have x squared minus 25x plus 144 is equals to 0. When we get here now, we have an expression we are used to that looks like ax squared plus bx plus c is equals to 0. So now we need to find factors of 144. When you add them, they give you 25. So two numbers whose product is 144 and whose sum, since this is a plus, is 25. We can now factor this out. You could also use the quadratic formula, but that would take longer. This is only worth 4 marks in the exam. So you find x, you write your x's. If you use your calculator, a quick method to find the factors is start from 1 and go up with it. Say 144 divided by 1, then you'll have your factors 1 and 144. Say 144 divided by 2, you'll get your 2, and whatever the difference is. To keep this video short, I have already found factors of 144 that add up to 25, and that is 16 and 9. So when we have a positive c, these two must have the same sign, and that sign must be the sign of our middle term, our b. So in this case, they will both be negative because they're taking the negative from the negative 25. This means x is equals to 16 or x is equals to 9. That is how you would solve this problem. There's another way of looking at this problem, of solving this problem. Minus 7 root x equals to negative 12. We can just transpose the 12 and bring it this side. Then we would have x minus 7 root x plus 12 is equals to 0. This expression is almost similar to that one. The only difference is that instead of x squared, we have x. Instead of x, we have square root of x. But if you look at what the difference is, x is also a square root of x squared. And then we have our constant. So you could easily from here solve this. Instead of putting x's now in your bracket, you put a square root of x on this side, a square root of x on this side, and we apply the same principles. We say factors of 12, when you add them, they give you 7. Factors of 12, when you add them, give you 7. That is 4 and 3. That means 4 multiplied by 3 is 12. 4 plus 3 is 7. If we have a positive c, they must have the same sign. It's the sign of our b term, which is negative, negative. Therefore, square root of x is equals to 4, or square root of x is equals to 3. But we're not looking for the square root of x, we're looking for x. So we square on both sides. Now, if we square a square root, we are left with x is equals to 4 squared is 16. Or if we square 3 squared is 9. The answer is the same. So you can either get rid of the square root earlier, but now you'll have to find factors of 144, or you can just factor it out quickly and get the same result. On the next video, we will solve a quadratic equation. Hopefully it's my last video on quadratic equations. We will use the quadratic formula. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and like.